Good afternoon. Welcome to JMC's weekly webinar on November 27th, 2024. Our webinar today is features the JMC community are thankful for.
We've got a great team. This is Paul Freed. I got a few folks with me today. I've got Amy Bemis from the great state of Iowa, Greg Appleby from the great state of Nebraska, Jake Van Scoy, also from Iowa, Linda Hill, and Rachel Cox from the great states of Minnesota. Again, I am Paul Freed from the great state of Minnesota as well. We're excited. We're going to get right into the topic of the day.
Season of gratitude. Thanksgiving is tomorrow, and we're coming together to express our gratitude for the features that make JMC special. Today, we want to share some of our favorite functionality and hear from you about the areas of JMC that you like most.
Yeah, we've got a great team here of JMC trainers and former JMC users who are going to join us. It's going to be a quick webinar, really showing folks what the features are that we like, that we want other schools to be using, because we visit schools lots of times and they're still asking questions about like, oh, well, do you have this feature, that feature? Like, yes, we've got these features. So this is a great thing to share with your team to say, hey, here's a quick nugget of beautiful features that every school should be using. All right, let's get right into it.
We do want to hear from you today. If you would like to share your favorite JMC innovation with the host, use the Q&A chat feature in your webinar toolbar. We're going to share our favorite features and innovations in JMC. Question number one, which JMC feature or new innovation are you most thankful for?
All right, JMC team, if you got something, you tell us who you are and kind of just roll it out there.
Sure thing, I can get us kicked off. This is Jake Van Scoy, and the feature that I am most thankful for is just kind of in general how we do business is the responsiveness of the development team and the support team. And specifically this last year, Iowa and Minnesota rolled out a couple of very large initiatives. MCCC, for you folks in Minnesota, for you folks in Iowa, you had the Iowa truancy issues that came up, and our development team and support team were right there with new tools and assistance for all of our schools for every step along the way. So in general, I would say that's what I am most thankful for.
Absolutely, Jake. And, a lot of those things can be found like in our help center, right? Look up, you can search for articles on MCCC. I think we've got some articles for that Iowa truancy and so on and so forth there. So really helpful items that we have there, but it all starts with that development team. All right, what else we got, folks?
I can go next. This is Amy. The team knows, and some of the viewers may know also, I was high school counselor for lots of years. And so I love all things scheduling in JMC office. One of my favorite things that I noticed recently, and it's not going to sound like a huge feature or a huge thing, but as a counselor, it was, and that was the ability to change the course term without removing students. I didn't even know that was a possibility, but then I discovered it one day when I was working with a school. And just that ability to change the term, it used to be so hard to do that. And those quick links, all quick links, are amazing on the right side of the page. So that was huge for me right there, as Paul's pointing out. And then just another little thing on that page, the ability to mark a course as required or elective. Awesome. Just a great way to keep track of things. And to be quite honest, when you're working with a lot of courses, sometimes you don't remember if it's required or an elective, actually. I hate to admit that. So being able to mark those and have those in there, it's good for the office staff. It's just a really nice feature, simple, but very helpful.
Yep. So what Amy's saying is you can make things required or elective. So when you run the scheduler, it can honor those items there. Additionally, this is a class set up as a year trimester. Maybe it's just meant to be a trimester course. It's not meant to be a year. You put things in there, you've got kids in there, you got, it's like, oh my gosh, I got this stuff. And this is not set up correctly on the report card or whatever. You can go to change course term. And typically you have to contact JMC or you have to be the JMC administrator. I can come in and I can change that to a trimester just like that. And that will save it now as a trimester course. Now, if you need some help with that, contact the training team and the tech support team, because you don't want to change from trimester to quarters, for example. But the ones that are in that same genre of term type are really easy to do. So great job, Amy. Anybody else got any?
Hi, I'm Linda Hill, and I am thankful for the Message Center.
Mhm.
I think it's a great tool to use to send out to parents and just say whether or not they have school or not, or just to give them information, a heads up. They can either text or you can send an email.
Yeah, that Message Center, Linda, you're right. And the beauty of it is, in a nutshell, it's this right here, these selected groups. You can send it to a particular course. If the chemistry course, 3rd hour, had something blow up and you just want to send something out to parents to stay ahead of that, you can send it just to the parents there. You can do it by route bus number. Bus gets a flat tire. That's super helpful there as well. And then we got the multiple message options there. Addition to, you can do parents and students. Also, you can send it now or schedule it in the future. So, but the real power is to send it out by activity, by route, bus number, random context, whatever that might be. So great job, Linda. Folks that use JMC efficiently really lean on the Message Center for communication. What else we got, folks?
Hi, I'm Rachel. One of my favorite features is online registration. I was on the administrative team at my school, and this was a great way to get the information from families that we needed at the start of the school year. We could get signed forms online. All of the papers that were going, that we would have families fill out over and over for each child in their family. It simplified things on the office side. They could sign forms electronically. They could sign paper forms, and we could record those paper signatures. And then the best part is, in JMC Office, you have a registration dashboard, so you can very easily keep tabs on who's finished registration, who hasn't. You can email people who have or have not finished registration. It's a great way of keeping tabs on getting all of those families where they need to be with all the information that you need as a school to start that new school year.
Yeah, every school should be doing the online registration. I'm in the JMC Family Portal because that's what Rachel is talking about. Everybody should be doing, even if it's just doing your free and reduced forms, the application for educational benefits, and maybe reviewing their contact information. Most schools that didn't do it before because it was a pain on paper. Now you can do it easily, roll it out to your families, get them used to going online, paying their lunch balance, paying their fees. Super handy tool. Great. Do we have anybody else before we move on to the next question?
Yeah, Paul, this is Greg. And the thing I'm really grateful for is, as students would say, the Help Center articles are the bomb. Okay. They're a really easy way to get great information and get your questions answered. We know, just like students learn differently, so do adults. I have a number of our schools that really like to use the Help Center articles, and then they will either save that article or print it, especially for something like how to add students, how to enter student that maybe has come back from a previous year or has come back this year, and then they just have that right there as a handy resource for them. But the Help Center articles are awesome.
Click that widget in the bottom right corner. You can click visit the Help Center. Opens up in a new one here. If I want to know how to do elementary scheduling, I just type in elementary schedule, and it's going to have me all the items listed right there. So that's a great feature. Great. Does anybody else have any other ones before we move on?
I'd just throw in there that Help Center is available, even just by Googling JMC Help Center. You know, if you Google search JMC Help Center, you can get to that external page that Paul was just showing you. So something that I didn't realize until very recently. But this is a way to loop in your families or maybe even your teachers that don't have direct access to that widget.
And the real beauty, Jake and Greg, is that some things you only do once a year, like elementary scheduling. That's why the Help Center is here. And lots of times we are updating, as Rachel Cox is in charge of the articles, constantly updating those articles as well. I want to throw out two things that I really love, and then we'll move on. Number one, on the view student data screen, what I love about JMC is internal communication. On that view student data screen, there is two features that I like to highlight. The first one is a quick link on the right-hand side as my rolls up here, which is the email all teachers of the student. It brings up the teachers of that student who are just in their schedule for the current term based on the calendar. Awesome time saver. That's number one. Number two, special ed comments. Put a comment in. Anything that has to do with special ed for a student, you can attach their 504 plan or their IEP, or add any comments here, like the student needs extra reading time. Put it in one spot for that student. click share with teachers and save this screen. And if you save it, then the students will have a pencil next to their name in JMC Teacher, alerting the teachers who have that student, this student has some special ed information. So that's really handy, super easy to get going. And it's very similar to under health down to medical emergency plan, the edit student medical emergency plans, where you can come in and add in any medically emergency information that you want here. Student has diabetes, student has a bone disease, whatever it might be. Click share with teachers and save. And every student who has that, or every teacher who has that student, it will show up as a red cross next to their name. So one of the things I love about JMC, internal school communication. Every school should be using those 3 features. All right, let's go on to the next one here, Mr. Greg Appleby. Well, what do we got?
Yeah, Paul, our next question is, which JMC feature do you think everyone should be using?
Gosh, I kind of jumped ahead there with that one. Though that's what I think everybody should be using. But who else has got something they'd like to share?
Sure thing. I've got you. I would say the number one thing, if you're not using student lists, and this is for teachers or for front office staff, student lists, and in particular, the ability to save lists and schedule email reports from those lists. Just to talk briefly about the utility of student lists. So you're updating information in JMC all the time, whether it be student information or course information, discipline information. So all of that is changing. It's all dynamic. By the time you print out a list, that list is obsolete. And the nice thing about using the student list feature in JMC is you can create that list, you can save it for future use, and you can rerun it whenever you need to. And that list then is never out of date. As long as your JMC is up to date, your list is up to date as well. And then that scheduled email over there on the right-hand side, if you want to keep tabs on, say, incident reports, you can create your discipline incidents and then schedule that email to be sent weekly. If I was an administrator on a Friday afternoon, I would want to see a full list of any discipline incident that occurred in my school throughout the week. I could get that report scheduled to be sent to me. I'd have all that information right there in front of me, and be able to view it with as a course of just my regular day checking my emails. So
it's a cool feature in there. And so like Jake was saying, it's in JMC Office and it's also in JMC Teacher. So I'm in the JMC Teacher portal under reports down to student lists. They also can save them. This way they can create their own birthday lists. They can do their own bus lists, create their own labels as well. So definitely a must-use feature. I tell folks all the time, there's about 200 preloaded reports in JMC. And for those that you don't have, you can create a JMC list and save it. It is really fantastic. All right, what else we got, folks, for the features that everyone should use?
I've got a couple. One thing that I really love is the teacher conference scheduler. And then what kind of goes along with the help center that we were talking about is JMC's YouTube training channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. First of all, why don't you talk about the conference schedule really quickly about how that's used, Rachel?
Sure. Yeah, we used it at our school. It would take a process that was done on pieces of paper. So prior to our conference scheduling, we'd send home pieces of paper with students. Parents would write their preferred day and their preferred time. We get all this paper in, try to schedule it so that siblings were near each other and everything else. And it was like a 2-week-long process just to schedule these conference appointments. And now in JMC Office, we could just go in, put in the day, put in the time, like the window of time and how long we wanted the conference appointments to be. And then it was on parents to go in. They could find the time that worked for them. They could schedule all of their students in their family so that they could be back to back. In JMC Family, the great thing is that it wouldn't let you like double book. So you were never, you wouldn't have a conflicting schedule with your conference appointments. So it was great for families. They could log in, make the appointments that worked in their schedules. It's great for teachers. It gave our teachers more kind of ownership over their conference schedule. They could schedule their own meal breaks. They could block off times when they needed to go to their own children's conferences. So it gave teachers more control over their schedules. It gave families more control over their schedules, and it simplified our office tasks significantly.
Yeah, and just to show you how easy, how easy it is, I'm coming here because you'll notice as I was clicking around as Rachel was kind of going in there. I'm set at my conference time right now. Instantaneously, oh, we got to make sure it's open. Yep. Instantaneously, families can come out to that teacher conference scheduler. And I think I got this. There we go. Here's each student. Here's the day. They can come in, choose a time. It's super easy. Same login, same all that information there as well. And so how can you learn about that? Go out to YouTube, search JMC training, come here. It takes you to the home, but I like to click on the videos. It shows you all the videos we have listed chronologically with the most recent one that's listed here. So definitely promote that as well. Great, Rachel. Thank you. Anybody else got any other ones?
Hi, I'm Linda. The new family enrollment form is really nice. It saves time for the office and it gets the parents to fill it out, and this saves great time.
Yeah, we've got actually, it's being refreshed and rolled out very soon. So this is the kind of the legacy look of the new family enrollment. But I'd say coming here in early January, February 2025, we'll have a refreshed JMC family JMC new family enrollment. It is sweet. It looks great, easy to run, more functionality than the previous one. It's just going to reflect well on your school. Great. Anybody else?
Paul, this is Greg. I really like the student scope from View Student Data. You have the student scope over there to the right. And I think it's just a great place to put a lot of information all in one spot. One thing that I do with like new superintendents or even other superintendents that have been there, they may not use JMC on a daily basis, like your principals, counselors, administrative assistants. I try to set this up for them so that they have it set up and they might have the student's photo, their attendance, all of that contact information at the top. So if they're speaking with a family or parents, they can have all of a student's information right there at once. I do really like the student scope.
Yeah, it's meant to be that one-stop shop for anybody who needs to get in and see a lot of information for a student at one time, and everybody can have their own settings as you were referring to. Listed right there. So that is also a great feature. Anybody else?
Paul, I'm going to share one that Cheryl Davids, one of our CSS team members, mentioned, because I think this is a really good one as well. She talked about the online payments with JMC Family, how that's so helpful and makes things so easy for families.
Yeah, come in, make an online payment here. You can easily make a payment to pay off your lunch balance. Also, you can come in and you can now set up recurring payments. And the recurring payment says, hey, I want to, especially like for lunch as an example here, I want to come in, I'm going to enable my auto payments here. And if my balance gets below $15, I want to add in $100 and it will do that for them automatically. It's a really awesome feature. It's very similar to the tuition and fees where they can come in and they can actually purchase items online and they can also pay their bill online there as well. So very exciting. Great. Anybody else? All right. This is great. I also love to hear what features people enjoy using. All right. Which feature helps you save the most time? Sorry, Greg, I took the words right out of your mouth, but which feature
All
helps
right.
you save?
You stole my thunder. That's okay, Paul.
Do you have one, Greg, that you would say which saves the most time?
Yeah, I would. Somebody else is going to talk about period attendance. I work with schools a lot in state reporting, and I think all of the features that JMC has in state reporting is really beneficial. It's easy. If you have errors, they're easy to fix. And I just think JMC does a great job of working with the states to make accurate and easy state reporting.
I think two things to add to that. Number one, we've got our state reporting videos that are really helpful on our JMC training site. That's number one. Number two, we're here to help you fix your errors if we can, right? Sometimes you got to refer to the state. That just happens. But you can email your errors to support@jmcinc.com. Let us know what's the student, what page you're on, whatever it might be. And we can help you with that as well. So we have a team that wants to be successful with state reporting. What else do folks have?
Hi, this is Linda. I think the Coaches app is a time saver. It helps with the coaches that are out there. They can get a hold of whoever right away if there's like something that happened to their kid in whatever sport they're in. They can get a hold of the parents quicker, and they can send out messages to the students also.
Yeah, we've heard many stories, including Jake Van Scoy, who was coaching a team and a kid got hit with a baseball and knocked out. And he immediately used the coach app to call the parents to have them come down and meet their son. And so that's great. Go to YouTube, search JMC training, go to communication from the coach or sidelines, or just choose coach. It's a really great feature. Every school should be using the Coach Advisor app. What else we got, folks?
Just to add that it's great for coaches that are not a part of the district as a teacher or as an administrator. You know, there are a lot of folks that meet that criteria that are out there, and this is a great way to loop them into the benefits of your student information system here. So
Absolutely.
I'm going to completely switch gears and talk about scheduling. Amy Bemis was talking about scheduling earlier, but as far as a feature that saves me the most time is that course data list. And, you know, as I work with schools quite a bit, helping them sort out their schedules, just a few of the features that are on this page, that checkbox that has only include courses with students enrolled versus, you know, removing that. You know, if you wanted to see your entire database of courses that you have at your disposal. So you want to see, all right, what's available? What course numbers do I have available? You know, it's all on one giant list. So you can toggle back and forth to see the courses that you have students enrolled in versus just all of the courses that you might have used in the past. You want to see what's available potentially. Also, along with this, the course grading info, the course teacher info, there's several options here, several different types of lists that you can run on this page that pertain to all of your courses. So if you're looking for whether or not, or which courses are required versus which courses are elective, you know, which courses are your teachers are listed for, term types, the days that these are meeting, it's all on one handy page. So most of you that do scheduling are probably well familiar with the course data list, but if you're not, I highly recommend you check it out.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jake. All right, what else do folks have?
I'm going to piggyback on Jake's scheduling again, because,
Love
you know, I love the counselor things, the scheduling things. One of the things that a feature, you know, again, it may sound like it's just a simple feature, but huge, is flagging students who repeat courses on that course data page.
Mhm.
It's just a simple check mark. You know, in the past, before that was there, I had to print out a student's transcript or have the transcript open next to my scheduling window, and I would look back and forth. And so now, I mean, it flags students who do things like band more than once, but I know that course they could take every year. But flagging them when they repeat the class, so I'm catching those kids that are trying to do woods for 4 years in a row. And, you know, I'm catching those kinds of things with ease. So I really appreciated that.
Well, I appreciate that too. You know, and there's lots of things on this screen. Also included the teacher conference scheduler. This is a huge one.
Mhm.
You don't want parents to go online and register for a course for parent-teacher conferences that they should not be registering for. Maybe it's your Phi-Ed course, you know, or whatever it might be. Or the teacher, you know, it's elementary. So the kids are in the same with the same teacher 3 times. They only need to meet with that teacher 1 time. Check that box. So look at that screen. And Amy, I was going to say this at the end, but I'll say it now. It's the regular every day-to-day features that save people the time, right? We've got lots of cool,
Absolutely.
sexy features out there that are you're like, oh man, this is awesome, right? But it's the things that save you minutes a day, hours a week, days and days of time throughout the term. Great.
Yep.
Anything else?
And I'm just going to say, Paul, too, that was one thing that I always appreciated as a user. Things popped up, new features appeared that I didn't even know I needed in my life, but
Yeah.
I did, you know, and they just quietly came and made my life better. And I loved that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great. Anybody else have any other features?
Paul, I would add one other. I just think the start of school checklist is a great place for schools to go when they come back in late July, early August, whatever, to make sure that their SIS is ready for the next school year. And it gives you a nice little checklist of things that you need to do to have all areas of JMC ready for the next school year.
Yeah. For example, did I roll my lunch balances forward? That right? I would go into the lunch module and did I do those things? And then I checked them off, right? Initialize family lunch contacts or whatever it might be. So really, did I set up my meal prices for the current year? If I didn't, I can actually click on that and it will take me to that meal prices page. So really handy there as well.
And I love that progress bar up at the top also with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Great. Anybody else? All right. Then the last question where we might get some other fun things from folks here is, go ahead, Greg.
I will take it, Paul. Which portal besides JMC Office offers a standout feature for your school?
Okay. Now, actually, I kind of forgot this was the last question. So before I do that, because there's a couple of we can talk about, is there any other features that people want to highlight? Because there's one I wanted to highlight that was in JMC Office, and that is actually under period attendance data to edit attendance. And that is the multiple option. So most people come in here, if you don't choose day to start, I would say choose the day, and that's going to take you to today and tell you who's absent today. But I love the multiple feature. It came out, I think, 2 years ago. The multiple feature allows you to come in and select 2 or 3 students. You know, if they're in the same family, if I've got here the Asimov family and they're going to all be going on a vacation, I can choose those 3 kids and they're going to be gone Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They're absent excused all day because they're on vacation. I can do all of them at one time. It's a really handy tool. Or if you don't have your activities in, or maybe only certain students from an activity are in there, you could go ahead and mark all those students gone from activities. So before we go to other portals or things like that, besides JMC Office, any other features people want to highlight?
Yeah, I would throw in here, when we discussed this prior to the webinar, Jeff Post raised his hand and he had a couple. So anytime our developers say, hey, I'd like to highlight this feature, that's definitely something that we need to take notice of. But the custom fields, and the thing that I would bring up with custom fields, those of you that are used to maybe doing online registration know all about custom fields, but very often we get requests from users that would say, boy, it'd be really nice if I was able to store X, Y, and Z about my student someplace in JMC, and you guys don't have this, and I wish this thing existed. Which the list is endless of data that you could include about a student. But the really handy thing with those custom fields questions is you can literally include any piece of information about a student that you would like through those custom fields, through the use of those custom fields. And even if you choose not to include it in online registration, for example, you can still create a custom field and then add any student data that you would like to add to that field and have it stored. You could run lists from that. There's a lot of utility beyond just online registration, though. Online registration is very handy for asking questions like, is your student able to drive their car to school? What's your student's license plate? A lot of folks collect that information so they know what vehicles are in the parking lot. But very handy feature.
Absolutely. Those custom fields, you can create any field you want in JMC and track that information. Great. Did anybody else have any other features before we go to that last question that I interrupted? I'll highlight a few. Form designer to create your own custom forms for absent tardy letters is a huge one that I like to be able to promote there as well. We talked about under health, the medical emergency plan is very helpful, but the visit log to be able to track why students are coming to the office if they're sick or whatever that might be, very handy tool there as well. I love the communication module and the discipline module where teachers can send in records electronically. One of my favorite features in the discipline module, it's underused under discipline data to edit student discipline. If you want to send a paper copy home of a student's discipline report, you don't have to do it up in Microsoft Word or Google Docs. You can come in, find that incident right here. This kid had something going on right here. There was an attendance warning. Let's look at a different kid here. Let's go to Asimov here. Let's go to our Jim Asith. I think Jim's got a better one here. Okay, Jim's got one right here. He used inappropriate language or he was fighting, and we want to send home a paper copy of that. You can come in here and just simply click print letter. If the first time you do it, put your name in there, your title and your email and your phone number, and you accept that, and it will come in and it will be a great letter that you can then send home to parents right here. It's got great banner there, what your school is, the date, and all the information here. And you can actually also, you can edit it. So if I come in here and I print the letter and I want to add in here, hey, I need to talk to you. And so I want you to make sure to call me next time you come to the office, whatever that is, you can accept that, print that letter out. If I come in here, you're going to see all that gibberish at the bottom. Here it is, all that gibberish right there. And then I can come back again to the beginning here when I hit print letter. It's going to still stay there in case I wanted to send the same letter to multiple students, or I can click reload original and it's going to then put it back to the original. So that's also another one of my favorite features right inside JMC there as well. So anybody else before we go to this last question about any other portal?
Hey, yeah. Since you're in JMC office, let's take a look at one. Under lunch, I want to print barcodes.
Oh, yeah.
And, this is for folks that want to save time at that point of sale. There's always the question of how am I going to get student ID numbers into the system so I can start tracking their meal purchases. For the price of a $15 scanner that you can buy on Amazon, you can print barcodes for your students. Each one of your students, you can either put them on a sheet, you can put them on the back of an ID, and then as they go through lunch line, they can easily scan their ID, scan their barcode, and that's going to pop their information up. So I know a lot of schools either have somebody at the end of the lunch line punch in lunch numbers, or they have their students enter in their own lunch numbers. This is just one of those pieces that can save you, even if it saves you 5 seconds a kid or 3 seconds a kid. You think about all the kids every day going through that lunch line, you're potentially saving up to hours a year. So I really like that feature. I'd encourage schools to use it.
Absolutely. I have one more and then we'll see anybody else that will go on. I know we're getting a little bit long, but I love this one. Under the message center, the phone number status. This tells you if anybody has said that they don't want to receive opted out of text messages here. Parent says, I'm not receiving any text messages. Come here and it will show you who's opted out of receiving text messages and when they opted out of receiving text message there as well. So really handy tool. So anybody else before we move on to the other portals?
There's one more here that our friend Mike Martin mentioned, easy transcript printing.
Oh, yeah.
Families and students can go on and print out an unofficial copy of their transcript all on their own.
Yep. Under JMC Family, you go to report card, transcript to transcripts. They don't need to call the office. They can come here and they can print an unofficial transcript. Like I said, how do we know it's unofficial? Because there's an unofficial watermark that runs across it. And so this can be done in JMC's Family. There's that unofficial, might be hard to see in the video, but it says unofficial transcript. This can also be done in, here's the JMC student listed right here. I don't actually going to go there because we want to keep it rolling, but it's going to be under that same area under report card to transcript. Students can print their own unofficial transcript. So that's awesome. All right, Greg, like you said, which portal besides JMC offers a standout feature for your school? Does anybody have one they want to highlight?
Well, I was just going to say in the teacher portal, and I know you talked about it earlier, the discipline and communication modules in there are just great. They're easy to use, and they're a great way to ensure that great communication is taking place between the teachers and the parents and the students and the office as well. So teachers make use of that. Really works great for administrators.
Love it. Love both those. Every school should be using discipline reports through JMC and communication reports. Absolutely. Great. Anybody else?
Hi, this is Linda. Gate, I think that's a great feature for people that are working the concession, or when they come to like games or plays or anything like that, or concerts, and they have to pay. I think that works just great.
Yeah, Gate is something that we're working on. We rolled out a preliminary version of Gate, so that's how you can check kids into events and things like that. We're refreshing that with our refresh look right now, and so that's an exciting thing that's gonna be coming out in the future there as well. Great. Anybody else?
This one was mentioned before by Linda, but the new family enrollment, like Paul said, it's getting refreshed. It's going to come out. It's going to look awesome, but it is a wonderful way to save time in the office and ensure that new families' information is going to be entered correctly, rather than them putting their information in a paper form or sending it to you in email, and then you have to enter it into JMC. Families can just directly enter their information and you can accept it into your database, and it saves a ton of time and it improves your accuracy.
Yeah, I just want to check and see if I've got an example of it listed here. I don't remember if this is one of the sites. Oh yeah, there we go. So this actually, it's not turned on for the school right now, but you can see it already has that more beautiful refresh look there as well. So I love it. All right. Anybody else?
Would say,
Oh, I just wanted to mention in JMC Family, Greg was talking about sending discipline things from the teacher portal. but all the things you can do in the family portal, including receiving that discipline information. So if you could just kind of quickly go over all the things that are in family.
Yeah, the schools that use JMC efficiently use JMC Family very efficiently. It allows families to come in. They can see their students' attendance. Progress reports is the most common one. I want to see how my kid is doing. I can run missing scores reports, but I'm going to highlight a few. The alert configuration, super important. And I don't have it turned on for my school, but you can turn on so they can receive an email alert when a student or their family falls below a certain balance. They can get email alerts for students absent or tardy, or an email or text alert if they're missing a score, if they drop below a percentage. So families don't need to do anything if they set these settings. The school will automatically alert them if a student is missing class or missing assignments. As you said, they can print out their own report cards and transcripts. They can see a credit check detail to see how many credits a student needs to earn to graduate from school. They can see lunch, and they can also make deposits like we talked about. They can, I should stop clicking on these things to keep us moving. They can see discipline, tuition fees. They can update their contact information anytime that gets submitted to the office. There's some that are state specific here. They can register for the current school year and do the teacher conference scheduler. So it pays to orientate your families to the JMC Family Portal every year, even new families, because it will save your school lots of time. Great. Jake, did you have another one?
Yeah, in addition to that, the JMC Family app, there is a mobile app. We're looking at the desktop version, but that mobile app, I love it just for the ability to pay my students or my kids on lunch payments online. I always get either a text from my son or daughter to say, hey, need lunch money so I can get seconds. And usually by the time they get to the end of the lunch line, I can have the deposit in there. So
yeah, every school should watch this JMC Family Portal and JMC Family app setup. It's a great video showing how to set up both of those things. So awesome. There's another app which I love, and I don't mean to steal somebody's thunder, but it's the admin app. Every superintendent and every principal should have the admin app on their phone. Let's see if I've got it down here. It is on here somewhere. Admin app. I'll have to look it up here. But the admin app allows them to find students. Here we go. Connecting admins, their entire school community with the Admin Connect app. Great feature. Allows them to send out voice, text, and email right from the app. Look up student pictures, look up student contact information. So another underutilized feature in many schools. Great. Anybody else? Use the apps. Use the family portal and the student portal. We have the community messenger coming out. You'll see a lot of information coming out about that this fall and also into next spring there as well. New family enrollment as well. And coming out this next, it says fall, but actually it's gonna be the spring because we're doing some sweet stuff to it, is the general store. Well, this was a great time for a lot of great features here in a short amount of time. So I think if there's anybody in the community that wants to share, we did ask in the beginning if somebody had some items that they wanted to share. I didn't see any come in because I think folks are just kind of soaking that information in. But if you do, you can add one of those items there as well. Does anybody else have any other ones, or should we close this one out? All right, let's do it. JMC news and upcoming events. I'll take this one, Greg, and you can take the rest. We've got some great webinars coming up here in December. Next week in December, we got calculating semester grades in JMC Teacher and a sneak peek at JMC's General Store. There we go. Community Messenger case study. 2 items that we talked about. Portals that are not in JMC Office. JMC by the numbers. That's kind of a feature that we do for schools that are interested in JMC, but also JMC schools too, to see how JMC does, how it kind of operates. And then we are not going to have a webinar on Christmas, so you can take the day off. What else we got going on here, Greg?
Paul, we're running a contest to get the word out about our brand new community messenger portal. Up for grabs, a communication strategy session with your team, led by the guy who literally wrote the book on human connection, Joe Beckman, followed by a community bonfire.
Great. You can grab the details for the contest listed here, or just email sales@jmcinc.com and I can get you that information there as well.
Boost and track conference attendance with JMC's Teacher Conference Scheduler. You can block off time slots to give families an accurate view of your availability, taking the headache out of signups. Also included, reporting on who has versus who hasn't attended conferences with a breakdown of percentages by teachers. You can watch the model in action by clicking on that link.
Absolutely.
We're coming to a trade show near you. I know you've already attended the Iowa Association of School Boards. The Nebraska State Principals Conference is on December 4th in Lincoln. Paul and myself hope to see you there. Slate in the Wisconsin Dells on December 9th, and the dates just keep coming. If you're attending, JMC trainers Paul and Jake would love to catch up with you at our booth.
It's gonna be a great time. We got a little video there as well. So I'll take this last one. We got to refer a friend, get $1,000 scholarship. That's right. Now through March 2025, for every school you refer to JMC that signs up for our software, we'll give you each $1,000 scholarship for your district. Top it off, our team will throw a piping hot pizza party. Questions, reach out to sales@jmcinc.com. On behalf of myself, the JMC train team, the JMC client specialist team, our programming team, thanks for your time today, and thank you for choosing JMC.